Hey you guys, it's me Afterlife666 back with another video. I haven't really fixed my hair yet, but yeah. Today we're gonna do something a little different. If you haven't seen my last video, it's an ASMR video. Links in the description. Check it out. Remember to like and subscribe and follow me on everything. So I need more likes, more subs, and more views. So if you could do that, that'd be much great. I'd be grateful for that. But today's video is gonna be a little different, and it's gonna be about dark, twisted people from the title, as you can tell. But I haven't really done a video like this, so I thought maybe I should do it because a lot of people are YouTube into dark stuff. So before I decided to do it, now before I read what these people have done, please know I'm not trying to make fun of anyone or anything like that. I just decided to talk about dark, twisted stuff. So just letting you know ahead of time, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone or anyone who died or whatever. Right? Just letting you know. But we're gonna talk about 5 people who have done terrible things. Now, some of these killers you might know, some of them you might not know. But let's get to the video. At number 5, Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was an American serial killer who took the lives of 17 males between 1978 and 1991. Dahmer was captured in 1991 and sentenced to 16 life terms. He was killed by a fellow prison What the fuck? I can't. Everything's blurry, huh? You know what? Let me get my glasses out. Fuck. Here we are. I don't know why, but I'm nearsighted, so. Perfect. Anyway, let's get on. He was killed by a fellow prison inmate. Christopher Sever? I'm sorry if I pronounce his name. He has fucked up names. Looks like some kind of video game character. In 1994. Films. My Friend Dahmer, born May 21, 1960, Waukegan, Wisconsin, died November 28, 1994. So, we're gonna scoot over and we're gonna see some of his charts, his personal, this, that, his height, whatnot. Alright, so let's see. Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster, was an American. Okay, you know what? We already read all that. Let me just skip all that. And sex offender who committed the murder and disappearance of 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. Born May, I already said that. Height 6'1", holy shit. Dude, last time I checked, I was 6'1". That's scary. Victims 17. I said it was 18. Span of crimes, sorry. June 18th, 1978. July 1990. I already said all that. What the fuck? Parents: Lyndon Dahmer, Joyce Dahmer. Education: Revere High School, 1978. Ohio State University, 1978 to 1978. What? Yeah. Oh my God. So, we all know Jeffrey Dahmer. That was the basics of what he did. If you want to learn more about him, I will put the link in the description. But, long story short, he was a fucked up serial killer who raped men and women, but mostly men. He was actually bi. But, this was back in the 60s or around the older times when gays and bisexual people weren't really that much accepted as they are today. Before we move on to the next killer, I would like to share a story that I've heard about Jeffrey, which I'm going to try to do with each person we talk about. So one of the stories I heard is that at one point he convinced an Asian man, a small Asian man, that he was a photo shoot. He was a photo shoot, modeling. So he decided to go with Jeffrey, and he was going to do a photo shoot. Well, when he walked into the door, he saw plastic everywhere, and a chair, and one of those chairs with the arms on it. And so he tried to walk out, but Jeffrey hit him over the head with a blunt object, knocking him out. Well, when he tied him down to the chair, he woke up to Jeffrey taking a fucking power drill and drilling a hole into the guy's skull. And he was attempting to make a zombie sex slave by pouring sulfuric acid into the hole via funnel into his brain to kind of dissolve it mostly. Not surprisingly, he died. The Asian man, he literally died. But not before escaping Jeffrey Dahmer, running into the street to find some women who were like doing their thing, and he's like, help, help, help. So they called the police. Jeffrey came along and said he's my friend who had an accident and he's kind of delirious. And so the cops told him to go back with Jeffrey, which he did. Don't ask me why he did that, but he did, and Jeffrey ended up killing him. Those cops that just let him go back was stupid. So, alright, coming up next, John Wayne Gacy, also known as Pogo the Clown. Now, John Wayne Gacy, March 17th, 1942 to May 10th, 1994, an American serial killer and a sex offender known as the Killer Clown, who assaulted and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. Gacy regularly performed at child hospitals because he was a clown. You know, like you go to birthdays and shit, which no one does anymore, by the way. Okay. At charitable events as Pogo the Clown. Or Patches the Clown? I've only heard Pogo the Clown. Persona he had devised to seduce people, I guess. John Wayne Gacy, an American serial killer and sex offender. Already read all that, blah blah blah. Okay, born March 17th, 1994, Chicago, Illinois. Died May 10th, 1994, Stadville Correctional Center. Let's see, victims 33 plus. That is fucking crazy. Span of crimes 1972 to 1978. Children Christine Gacy and Michael Gacy. Spouse where is it? Alright, so Carl Hoof. Her name's that's a terrible name. Marilyn Myers. That's fucked up. So essentially what he does is okay, so there's many ways killers, just like demons, do their thing, you know. They can either have two things: a scary clown to create fear, or an innocent or sad looking character to gain sympathy, which both sides end in death, which is very sad. And I will give my condolences to any of the families who had to go through this bullshit with any of these people, and I just feel like I should say that because it's the truth, and it's very sad that a lot of people had to go through this. So all the links for each one of these these things on the sites will be listed with all the links, like I said before, will be linked in the description, which I am going to have to do all the links, so give me 1 second, I gotta get the other links. Life of a YouTuber, you guys. Number 3. Gary Ridgway. In the full Gary Ridgway, blah blah blah. Born February 18th, 1949. Salt Lake City, Utah, U.S. American criminal who was the country's deadliest convicted serial killer. He claimed to have killed so many as 80 women, many whom were prostitutes, in Washington during the 1980s and 90s. Although he pled guilty to 2003 to only 48 murders, Ridgway grew up in what became SeaTac, Washington, after graduating from high school in 1969, age of 20. I graduated high school at 17. What was I? Okay. He survived a two-year stint in the U.S. Navy. That's pretty cool. And later settled in the area where he worked as a truck painter. Over the next 30 years, he married 3 times and had a son. Scrolling down. Damn it. In 1980, Ridgway had arrested for allegedly choking a prostitute, but no charges were filed after he claimed that the woman had bit him. 2 years later, he was arrested for solicitation. Ridgway has believed to have begun his killing spree shortly thereafter. His first victim was thought to have been a 16-year-old girl. What kind of an asshole does that? Who went missing after leaving her foster home in July 1982. Her body was found a week later in Green River. Over the next 2 years, Ridgway raped and killed more than 40 women, many of whom were prostitutes and runaways. A number of Ridgway's early victims later found in or near the river, giving rise to nickname Green River Killer. Other bodies were discovered in remote wooded areas. After 1984, he committed several more murders, the last occurring in 1998. That's fucking up. Now we're going to do this thing. February 18, 1949, age 71, Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's all this person I can find. Now, it's pretty much all I can find on him. Okay, born February 18th, 1949. Pretty much, yeah. Okay, now this killer, a lot of people might not know, but I know it from a top 10 video I watched the other day. San Antonio, California, U.S. Richard treason case. May 23rd, 1950, December 26, 1980, was an American serial killer who killed 6 people in the span of a month. In San Antonio, California, he was nicknamed the Vampire of San Antonio, California. He was, the Vampire of San Antonio, I was in the wrong line. Because he drank his victims' blood and cannibalized their remains. So he literally killed his victims, drank their blood, and I think he ate their flesh. Because technically, if you drink their blood, it's technically not cannibalism. Cannibalism is when you eat the flesh. Let's find another website of him. I know there's one in here somewhere. Sorry. Okay, you know what? Let's just go to this. The Vampire Killer. Alright, I'm not going to read every single one of these. But, wait, this is the wrong one. Fuck, I didn't mean the video game, I meant the killer. Damn. Okay, here we go. Technically, all killers are disturbed, but there's a slide scale, and Richard Case, the Vampire of San Antonio, is strongly on the side. He lives his life under a series of powerful delusions that he had fatal shit. I cannot read this shit. So embarrassing. Why the hell is this? Anyway, Chase made I cannot read this. Anyway, Chase made papers when he killed and mutilated the bodies of 6 victims in San Antonio, California in the late 1970s. Why is most of these in the 70s? Given his nickname, it doesn't come as much of a surprise that Richard Chase's trademark was drinking blood, and his victims after he killed them. But believe it or not, drinking his victims' blood wasn't even the vampire killer's most disturbing trait. Okay, if that's not his disturbing trait, I don't know what could be worse. Let's see. Okay, Richard Chase showed signs of mental illness at a young age, but his father, a strict and sometimes physically abusive parent, did a little to get him help. Chase was disturbed and unhappy child as his symptoms grew worse. In an instance, he set several small fires, frequently wet the bed, and displayed signs of cruelty towards animals. Serial killers tendencies. Let's see. These 3 habits are sometimes called the McDonald trait or the trait of sociopaths. Proposed by psychiatrist J.M. McDonald in 1963, has a predator, sociopath, and a patient. Wow. But yeah, like I said, I'm not reading everything, so if you do want to find, more info, every single, and I do mean every single link will be in the description. And this is our sorry, this is our last killer. Sorry, throat. A former nanny convicted last month for the brutal murders of 2 New York City children has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Let's see. I cannot pronounce that name. It's fucking. I'm just gonna say my best, but if I butcher it, it doesn't really matter because she's a killer. What's your name? Yolson Orgata? I don't really like to butcher people's name, but in this case, it's justified. She was convicted of the murder of the 2012 stabbing deaths of a 6-year-old Lucy Krim, and I really hope I said that right, and 2-year-old Leo Krim. Olga had been working for Krim family for nearly 2 years when she took the children to the back room of the apartment, killed them. The children were later found in the bathtub when their mother returned home to the bloody apartment. Fuck, that's terrifying. I really cannot imagine what that mom and the parents are going through. Olga was wimped as she spoke briefly, a rare show of emotion for her lengthy trial. I don't really think she was crying because she felt guilty. I think she was crying because she's getting punished. A lot of people who do stuff like murder or rape or whatever, anything bad enough to get life in prison, I feel like they cry and they feel sad, not because they feel guilty, but because they're getting punished and they don't want that, so they try to look fucking sad to get sympathy. But in reality, it doesn't matter because you killed people. That's what they're crying about. They're getting punished. That's like a kid who did something wrong and their parents are like, no more TV for you, so they cry. It's the exact same thing. They're just crying because they don't want to be punished, not because they feel guilty. That's a straight up fact. Ask anyone who's ever been a judge or a cop, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's stupid people. They want to kill people, and they don't want to get punished. It's their own fault. You don't want to get punished, don't kill. That's end of story. I'm gonna read a little bit more of the Killer Nanny, which, by the way, I'm going to refer to her as the Killer Nanny since I keep butchering her name. I'm very sorry for everyone that happened, but I hope that no one goes through what I've gone through. The 55-year-old killer nanny said that though tears, although many people wish me all the worst of my life, is in the hands of God. The victim's parents, Marna Krim, Kevin Krim, each read their own victim impact statement in court. According to memories of their children who were murdered in their home, the killer nanny tried to destroy what Kevin and I set out to build a happy family, said Marna. But Prim said the killer nanny failed to instead destroy her own family, which kind of sucked. I'm also this is probably going to be the last part I'm going to read. Who will always lead forward? The Crims spoke how the killer nanny robbed them of their children and how the killer nanny's family and friends helped with this by lying to them about the killer nanny's personality and experience as a nanny. Killer nanny, who from Dominican Republic, had been recommended by her sister and nanny for another New York family, and her background and her references were faked by her family. The coincidence the Crims said were horrifying. We miss hearing them call by our nanny's name, run to hug me when I got home from work. Kevin Krim said while crying, I miss feeling their soft skin on our arms. The killer nanny said she wasn't feeling well but wasn't able to go to the doctor. Ah man, this fucking killer nanny sounds like she's just making excuses. And it really is stupid when people do this shit, and I feel bad for all the people who were affected by this. It really does suck that y'all are going through this, and I really wish that you guys, I really wish you guys were not on my channel under these circumstances. So, I really wish y'all weren't. But we don't always get what we want. Although I do wish that everybody who's affected by these killers, you know, wasn't affected. Like nothing happened. What I meant. Well, there you guys go. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and follow me on everything. All links in the description. And like I said before, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. I'm not trying to tease anyone or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about more dark topics because a lot of people on YouTube like that stuff. So I thought I'd share some pseudocrypts with you. This is part 1 of a series I'm going to be planning on doing. Maybe next week I'll probably do part 2. Maybe the week after. So I just wanted to share my thoughts. Let me know in the comments which one you think did the worst out of any of them. I personally am leaning with the killer nanny, is my opinion the worst, but that's just mine. So bye bye guys.